yourself.
Radio UTD.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Behind the Screens, your favorite esports and gaming talk show here at Radio UTD. I'm Hector, and I'm joined this time with two of my lovely co-hosts, as opposed to previous semesters with Hrithik and Audie. Introducing Hrithik and Kevin. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
Hi, my name is Hrithik. I am a junior here, and I study business administration. I love gaming and esports, so look forward to being on the show.
Hey, my name is Kevin. I am a senior in computer science, and I'm also a Rocket League coach for the UT Dallas Esports team.
Fantastic. So, as usual, I know you guys tuning in at home have probably been more accustomed to myself, Audie, Hrithik, maybe even Tim joining the conversation. So it's going to be a little bit of a different dynamic this time around, but still covering pretty much the same things. As I mentioned, we're going to be covering all of the latest news in the gaming and esports realm. But if you wanted to call into the show at any point, it's going to be 972-883-6305. And our Skype is IamRadioUTD, all lowercase, no spaces. But let's get right into it, guys. China, they have a really big crackdown as of recently for kids playing online video games, such as esports games or just any games in general during the week. And this is including minors not being allowed to play more than an hour between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. So let me reiterate that rather. They're able to play between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Fridays and some weekends, but the hours that they can play is substantially lowered and regulated. So what do you guys think about that in general?
I both like it and I dislike it because it's, how do I explain it? It's good because in a sense the government understands that they want to like boost how would I say it, like productivity out of children, where sometimes video games isn't the best for that, but at the same time video games are very, very, very great way to de-stress and all of that. Like I don't think it should be 1 hour a week, honestly. I think it should be a lot, like at least a little bit more, maybe 1 hour a day. I think that would be fair.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But like a week?
Yeah.
That's like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know. I would never be able to do that.
Yeah, I play 10 a day.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I can see the entire like reason behind it that China's like thinking. Obviously, like video games can be like a setback, like distraction and all that. So when you're trying to get your stuff done, obviously you kind of want to play games the entire time. So it can be a really big distraction for especially the youth growing up. Especially they want to be like useful in the workforce and stuff like that. So that can be a really big thing. But at the same time, like you said, Kevin, it's a really good like de-stressing thing.
Yeah.
Very, very good like benefits to gaming. It's not just for fun. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's like a lot of psychological things behind gaming as well. I mean, yes, it can be both beneficial, but it also does have its hindrances. So I understand as to why they did it. I do, however, think that the ban is a bit excessive, and China has always had a thing going on, and a lot of you might be confused as to like, how are they supposed to regulate stuff like this? Like, how are they gonna be like, okay, you can only play an hour? How do they know? Well, in China, they actually do have a lot of, I guess, how would I phrase this? When you sign up for games, you basically have to put your name, and a lot of them are requiring like the equivalent of like a social security number in China, so that they can understand and regulate the hours according to, I guess, for minors specifically.
Do you think there's a way that minors are gonna like get away with that, or
I'm sure they would be. I mean, I've heard conversations about like VPNs and stuff like that, but the thing is, like, it's not about accessing like a different like location. It's legitimately tying the registration of the game with your real name. So there's not really a way around it.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
That's just something which I can't get myself to like think of how like I would deal with it, like if I was in China, for example. That just like an amount of control that just seems like too far out of reach for me, but obviously that's something they're going through.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like China in general has always been like night and day with USA, right? Like
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's something that's bizarre for China, but I also think like if you compare it to like, for instance, the United States and how a lot of our regulations are very loose, I'd say comparatively, it can seem kind of daunting, but I think it's pretty much like the best outcome for what they have in their situation right now. There was a statement that came out from a Chinese newspaper, and they were basically comparing like gaming to like spiritual opium and like an electronic drug and stuff like that.
What? That's right.
So like, I don't know. I mean, like, I think there's just a very negative stigma with gaming, and I do think like I understand the concerns about addictions and such. And we've talked about it on previous shows and on previous semesters, but I guess for you guys, like, what is your opinion on like gaming in the sense of, do you think that it can be very addictive, and if so, do you think that there's specific game styles or anything like that that would warrant that sort of addiction?
Well, I mean, I definitely think that gaming can be addictive. Like, I genuinely, there's sometimes where I myself feel addicted just to Rocket League in general, right? And while like it's something that I do for a job, not everyone has that ability to just be able to do that. So it's weird, but at the same time, I know plenty of people that are not addicted at all.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I definitely do think that it can be like very addicting. I wouldn't personally like put it on the same level as like hard drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it is definitely something that you can get addicted. Kind of like you can get addicted to sodas, coffee, stuff like that,
sugar,
right?
stuff like that.
Anything in general that you have too much of that you rely on to
True.
like use on the daily basis to help yourself in every day
That's a good
can
point.
be addicting, right? So
Yeah.
I think there is some addicting factors to video gaming. Obviously, I still think that there's a lot of like positives to it as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's interesting you say that, right? Because like I completely agree with you. I think that anything with excess is gonna be like taken as like an addiction, really, or just bad in nature. But I think it's interesting in the sense when you compare it, or rather when you combine it with esports in general, right? So, and Kevin will have a lot of good insight for this, as he mentioned, he's the esports coach for our Rocket League team here at UTD Esports, and there is a lot of training involved with esports, right? You have to go to regular practices, you have to make sure that you kind of are on top of your game compared to other teams. And in China specifically, I mean, they're going to be competing at a worldwide level. So I think there's a quote right here, someone saying that like China doesn't have a future for esports. Then like it's impossible to train teens. What do you like, Kevin? What's your opinion on the matter? Is it like really necessary to practice like several hours each day, or what does that take?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, if you look at, I'm gonna go into Rocket League once again because I coach it, but for Rocket League specifically, you have so many pros that they wake up, they play Rocket League, and they go to sleep. Sometimes that is their life, and I mean, warranted. They are getting money for it. They're getting good money, so it's okay. But since, this ban has come into place, how are you going to raise the next, amazing player, the next top tier player? You're not going to be able to find that. Plus, I forgot if it was canceled or not, but Rocket League being a Olympic sport specifically, China was gonna go into that.
Yeah. No.
So I mean, how are they going to do it now?
That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm gonna come in at it from a different perspective because I personally love watching the first-person shooters in
Okay.
terms of esports.
Yeah.
So like Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, all those like I watch like heavily, right? And the same thing applies like in Rocket League. You need to practice a lot just to keep up with like not only the meta of the whatever season they're on, but also just like the ever-changing game style that everyone wants to play. Everyone's adapting each time. People from like other countries are thinking of new ways to play, stuff like that. And with all these regional LANs or like international LANs, they're gonna like the people from China are gonna need to be able to like stay up to date with everything, and it's gonna definitely hard to do if you can't play that often.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like now that we like talk about it more, and I'm just like, I think you guys are right. Like I think there will be some sort of workaround that people figure out.
Yeah, there's got to be some exceptions to the.
Yeah, there
thing.
has to be some sort of exceptions.
Either that, or you're gonna see every pro in China is gonna be
Offline.
above, but that, or it's gonna be above 18. They're
Mhm.
not gonna be minors. So like that
good
next
point.
prodigy, you're not gonna see it until they turn 18 and they actually like start grinding the game. They actually start practicing and getting good at it.
Exactly. Which is crazy to think of, in my opinion, because if you look at a lot of the top esports today, a lot of the top players in those esports are also under 18.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
this legitimately off of when I was saying previously, like the future of esports in China, that person also said kids in other countries will win the world championships at 17 while we're still just starting to play the game at 18. Which is like, to your point, it's like, I mean, you take like for instance Booga, this is kind of outdated, but like for instance,
Fortnite World Cup,
when
yeah.
he won the Fortnite World Cup
Wasn't
or the
he like
championship,
12
or
years
whatever.
old or something?
No, he was like 15.
Oh, okay.
He was 16.
Yeah, he was
16
16.
at the time.
Still, that's
But like
crazy.
that's ridiculous, and he won
Yeah.
like several
$3 million
dollars.
was the prize pool. Obviously, with tax and stuff, you get
Yeah,
cut. But
yeah.
like, it's a huge amount of money. Instantly went on the Jimmy Fallon show and all that stuff, and became
Yep.
an instant celebrity straight off that.
Exactly. And so like, I guess off of that, I know that a lot of people like talk about like reflexes and like how, I mean, like in traditional sports, right? You kind of have like a cap to how old you would be inside of a league. Do you guys think that translates one for one? I personally think it's a little different, and I think there's some prime examples, like for instance Hiko, someone that's older in the scene but still competitively on top of the game and doing really, really well competitively. What do you guys think?
I think there's a little bit of like, I do think there's like a little cap.
Okay.
It's not. I don't think it's as high as like regular sports. Like for example, in football, Tom Brady's 44 and he's still playing at a super high level.
That's
right?
a good point.
People in the NBA, there's people who are like 35 to 40 who are still playing at the top of the level, right? But in esports, what I've noticed, especially in the first-person shooters, I don't know about MOBAs and all that stuff, but in first-person shooters, the cap seems to be around like 30, 33 in that range, and that's when they start falling off like really bad. So I do think there is a cap in like the age limit, and that obviously with the entire China thing being having to start at 18, for example, that really limits the career that you can have.
Yeah.
Plus, with esports, like a lot of games tend to, like they'll die out or something like that. You already
That's true.
don't get enough time to enjoy that career. That career is very short, and if you're 18, you have what, maybe 5 years, but the game already like came out or something like that. Maybe it dies within like 8 or 10. So
I've always wondered, like, so like, for games like Hrithik was mentioning, more of the like FPS tag shooters where it's like a lot of transferable skills. For pros, like in games like Rocket League, like what is the next step for them? Kevin's like, I'm still trying to figure that out.
I don't even know myself. I sometimes I sit there and I'm like, well, sometimes I have really good reaction time, but that just comes along with any esport.
Or any sport, really.
Yeah.
It, like
Doesn't have to
literally
be esport.
anything. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could read like trajectories often, I guess, but like it's not, I don't know, maybe pool. like failures.
I mean, there's been talks about Rocket League 2, right? And I think that's something that's like coming up potentially, and I think it was rumored to be like in Unreal Engine 5 with some like sick underglow and stuff on cars and just cool lighting and stuff. The thing about it is, like, if they were to remake Rocket League, right, or rather if they were to make Rocket League 2 and make it on Unreal Engine 5, they would have to create it from the ground up.
Rocket League is actually already Rocket League 2, funny enough, because so this is a little bit of history, but Rocket League is actually a sequel to a game called Supersonic Rocket Powered Battle Cars or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Something like SARP. That's like the acronym that people.
No, Supersonic Acrobatic
Rocket powered battle cars. There you go. Yeah, there it is. And it was really like. It was really bad at the time, really terribly coded, but everyone loved it. And then Rocket League came out, and that's when it exploded. But I understand what you're saying about the Rocket League 2. I think it's gonna be the same way. I don't think people will enjoy the game if it has different physics or anything like that. And
yeah, I agree.
We don't have any news really about what's going to happen with Rocket League. They announced that it's going to be on Unreal Engine 5, which, by the way, Unreal Engine 5 is like just the engine that runs the game, stuff like that. And we're on a Unreal Engine 3, so it's an outdated version. There's a lot of limitations to the game, but I think if it goes to Unreal Engine 5, the only thing that cannot change is physics. I think everything else would be absolutely amazing to change, but after that, if the physics change at all, the game will basically lose a lot of its player base.
So what is it even like if they were to make if they were to make Rocket League 2? What would they even do? Like that's my question. Is like, what is there to change? Like, you can have
there's actually a lot that could change. So one thing is, one of the biggest issues in Rocket League right now is the networking. So how you connect to the game and how it feels to play. Sometimes
that makes sense.
And like if you're like the West Coast of America, you'll literally try to go to the East Coast, or like try to go on East Coast servers just so you can get better ping. And like there's issues with servers, there's issues with networking. You can only have 10 people in a lobby, and after that everything starts to go crazy, right?
Yeah, but is that like something that they would have to rebuild the game for, or is that just like the netcode of the game?
I assume that's what they're doing, because if you change, like, even if it's updating the version, like it's Unreal Engine 3 right now, even if you're updating it, you still probably have to completely recode the game, which is why they're doing it now, like, thankfully, but it's not going to come out for a while. And that's probably also why we have no news on it. But I'm excited to know anything about it, because that's the thing that I've been looking forward to for the longest time. It's so crazy.
I think it's very similar to the way Counter-Strike handled everything. So in like 2000, they released Counter-Strike in general, and then they released Counter-Strike 1.6, which is on a new engine, the Source engine. Then right after, they released Counter-Strike Source, which is also Source engine. And then 2012, they released Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is going super strong today, which is also on Source engine. But the thing is, like, each of the different games were like very different in the way like it played and stuff like that. But just like the entire concept stayed the same, but like the gameplay and everything felt different. So I feel like that might be kind of the way the Rocket League is going in terms of.
Did you guys hear what they're doing with Overwatch 2?
No.
Okay, so
what's up?
The format that they're doing for Overwatch 2 is like, it was similar to like what I was saying for Rocket League. It's like people were probably confused as to like, okay, what is the next Overwatch? Like, what does that even entail? So like, they're changing the way that certain characters like play and like how like UI and stuff looks, and they're also adding a PvE game mode. But they're like essentially making like a separate game being Overwatch 2. My assumption is that Overwatch 1 will no longer be able to be purchased, but current Overwatch players will be able to play PvP against Overwatch 2 players in the same heroes, same maps, same everything. So it's basically a new game that's promoting like a new style of game mode, being PvE or player versus enemy, and then basically making like current Overwatch players like conform basically to that new. And on top of that, you guys might know about this, but they're doing, instead of 6v6, which is the current like playstyle for Overwatch, they're doing 5v5. So basically what that means for like I guess like competitive esports and stuff like that is like instant swap in terms of like roster changes. Like you're gonna have only one tank versus two of each of the roles. So it's like I'm not a huge fan of how they're kind of pushing it. Like they're like basically like, okay, well, regardless if you like it or not, the current like meta of Overwatch is gonna change to Overwatch 2 on a dime. So it's basically like a glorified DLC update, but it's forced.
Well, here's my question, because I kind of want to hit on what you said about Overwatch may not make it able to be purchased or anything like that.
Yeah.
Hrithik had said something about CS 1.6 and CSGO, but if you look back on that right now, like you can go back and purchase the old games.
That's
right?
a fair point.
So do you think that there will be like a divide in the fan base where Overwatch 1 will be like a lot of people enjoy it? Or...
I don't think so, because that's the thing is, current Overwatch players, like I said, are going to be playing in the same lobbies as Overwatch 2 players. In my mind, I don't see a world where Blizzard decides to make Overwatch 1 a purchasable game and instead incentivize people buying Overwatch 2, and the only way they could get Overwatch 1 is probably through keys or something like that.
Well, then what's the point of playing it right now? Like that.
What do you mean?
If you're playing Overwatch 1 right now and Blizzard was to do that, then a lot of like time, effort to like get like, for instance, like skins and stuff like that.
So off of that, any person that purchases Overwatch 2 has been guaranteed to transfer levels, all your loots. So that'd be skins, player icons, sprays, emotes, everything. So that's kind of where it stems off of. Like that's where my confusion is like why make a second game for this? Is it because they need to be in a new engine like Rocket League 2 would potentially be in?
I would assume so.
Yeah, that's possible.
I think
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
that just makes the most sense. Is that like obviously, it doesn't seem to make like logical sense for it to have the exact same things, have everyone play on the exact same servers, but be a totally new game. Like, what's the reason for that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Overwatch 1 players can play with Overwatch 2 players, that means that the build of Overwatch 1 would have to be compatible with Overwatch 2.
That's the
Which would
kicker.
Probably be on.
So
the
they would
same-
be on the same engine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is just
So that's like why I'm like, I don't know why they would do this. And that's going back to like Rocket League, for instance. It's like, why would they do that for Rocket League 2? But I mean, Rocket League 2 is projected to have happen. What isn't though is Rocket League's latest unveil of their new esports format moving forward. I know, Kevin, you can maybe talk about it. I know you know a lot about Rocket League, but also are super into it.
I'm happy to.
he was
take
smacking
over.
his lips with this topic. He was getting
I'm
ready.
excited. So, for anyone that doesn't know, Rocket League, I believe it was actually yesterday. It was actually yesterday at 12 o'clock CT. And they did a live stream on Twitch, and they explained everything about the new season. The new season for esports. And I'll start off with this. So back in season 9, which is about March of last year, that's around when COVID started, or at least quarantine started and all that stuff.
March 2020.
The LAN event for the championship for the season 9 esports thing, it was set to be in Dallas. I had bought tickets. I was
that's
excited.
tragic.
I was
RIP.
planning things out with friends. We were thinking about bringing a bunch of like posters, like, you know, just memes and stuff like
That's
that.
sick.
And then it got canceled, and it was the most
imagine.
devastating thing because I bought it like I remember it got sold out within 2 hours, so I was so happy that I bought it.
Oh my.
I bought like a ticket,
Unlucky.
Oh,
and
my God.
then they canceled it. So that was like the biggest thing for a long time. For a whole year, RLCS X happened, and that was that RLCS season 10.
Yeah.
That was not like it, people were asking for LAN events and all that stuff, which, by the way, LAN events are basically just in-person tournaments. You just show up and, you know, everyone plays in the same I guess like location, so that way there's no network differences, no lag, all that stuff. But anyways, for season 10, everyone thought, oh, there's gonna be a LAN event, maybe they announced something. Nothing. And you look at other esports, I actually kind of stopped watching RLCS in general, and I started watching the R6 Pro League, so Rainbow Six, the Pro League. I watched that, and they had a LAN event where it was only players, but it was so much more interesting. There was so much, like, the fact that they were all together and they could compete was amazing.
Yeah.
So
let me just quickly just point out too, is that like in CS as well, the same thing happened around the same time. It went online, and the studio environment that you were talking about, where it was just the players, that event was so much better than all the online stuff. So it's a big deal in terms of like viewership too.
It changes so much for the game, and so, you know, fans were mad because they're like, one, I want a really, like, for the season 10, this was still during quarantine. It happened, I believe it ended like around this summer, the end of the summer. People were mad because, you know, the other esports were having LAN events. Rocket League, nothing, completely silent. Fans were mad, pro players were mad, everything.
Yeah, I mean, understandably, like, as a fan, it's annoying, right? But as a pro, I can't even imagine. It's like, this is like your livelihood, like this is your career, right?
Yeah.
If you're in the dark for a lot of things, it's just like, I mean, where's the next step, you know?
Yeah. And so after all this madness and everyone just being absolutely fed up, this live stream happened yesterday, and the amount of hype that was going on in the chats when they said LAN events are back, oh man,
I can imagine.
Yeah,
I was celebrating. I was jumping out of my chair screaming because I'm hoping for a Dallas LAN. I'm hoping for Dallas.
That'd be so dope.
Do you think they would run it?
Dallas was the first place to sell out Rocket League championship series, right? The RLCS, that was the first place to actually sell out, and it sold out within 2 hours.
Question for you: is RLCS kind of like the major in CS:GO and and in Rainbow, or is it like Pro League?
So it's kind of like so the format has actually changed. It's kind of like Pro League, but also it's like CS in the sense that there are tournaments, but each tournament plays into a point system, and then those point systems gets you into the world championship.
So it's kind of like Fortnite, like they have like splits.
It's kind of like the league like where it's LCS, LEC, where you have different splits: the summer split, the spring split, fall split, and winning those can qualify you for World Cup.
Exactly.
Yeah. So specifically, there are 3 regional splits, or three splits. So there's fall, winter, spring, right? There's 3 regional tournaments in each split. And that's going to be for their like respective like regions. So NA, EU, when there's actually a lot more regions that are being added, but you know, just for keeping it simple, NA and EU, right? And you have 3 of those tournaments. It goes into a major for the split, which all counts for points, and then you do it again for the winter split, and then the same thing for the spring split. And after all those points have been accounted, with this new format, what they're doing is they're actually, it's like kind of like a regional, like battle. So if it's shown that in these majors that a lot of like teams, like let's say NA specifically, if a lot of NA teams start doing really, really good, and a lot of EU teams are not doing as well, that actually
Pretty
secures
typical,
more. Yeah, true. Hey, true. That actually changes it to where NA gets more spots in the championship.
Makes
So
sense.
a lot
So-
more.
so
So
more
more
slots.
teams will actually go to the championship, whereas EU may have like 2 teams max.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're not performing, why would you get
Yeah, exactly.
like deserving of a spot?
And going off of that, like I know we kind of skimmed over the new regions, but I actually think that it's like really, really big for the game
It's
as
crazy.
an esports. So they're bringing in 3 new regions, being North and South Asia specifically. So APAC is what they abbreviated as, and then also Northern Africa and the Middle East. So like those regions have been very like I'd say like mal supported in previous, or rather under supported in just in general for esports. So it's really nice to see like a big game developer being Psyonix, and I'm interested, do you think that like these type of pushes, like for like expansion of servers and stuff like that, do you think that is like really driven by Epic being an owner of Psyonix now, or do you think that they would have been able to pull
Yes,
this
so-
off?
for sure.
Yeah, if you wanna.
I was just gonna say with with Epic owning like Fortnite, for example, right? Fortnite, one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game for a long time, and obviously Fortnite is worldwide. There's servers everywhere. Like people
Yeah.
from all over the place can like play it, right? And you notice in the World Cup, there's some like super good people from like the Middle East, from Africa, from different parts of Asia that were like rising to the top, and obviously them having the opportunity to play it is like big. So I think Epic, that also owning Psyonix,
Yeah,
was like a big reason in that.
I agree.
That and if you look back at previous seasons for the RLCS, you'll look at the prize pool before Epic actually owned Psyonix. In season 9 and before, the prize pool, it was good. Like it was really good, but it wasn't like amazing.
It wasn't
like,
6 million strong like it is
Oh, yeah.
now.
it's 6 million.
That's that Epic money.
That's crazy. 6 million.
Yeah.
And like that does
That's what skins
distribute
do.
across like all the regions and all that. But still, that's so much money that Epic is just pouring into the esports.
Oh yeah.
It's not only that, with Rocket League have going free to play recently.
Yeah, that helps
Oh,
a
that's
lot.
That
a way
helps with the
from now
player
on,
base.
honestly.
The RLCS right now should be doing amazing, absolutely amazing.
I just want to point out something about the entire like expansion thing. Those regions, especially in the Middle East, has some like, cracked gamers.
True,
Yes,
actually.
They're so good.
Okay, specifically the Middle East. So
Turkey. I want to just bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Valorant, like a big event that's going on in Berlin, it's almost like the major. It's like a qualifier for like the super last event. One of the teams that's left in the playoff race is from a full Turkish team, and they're insanely good.
Yeah,
So
It's
they
underrated.
have like crazy people over there.
yeah. Well, I know that we were kind of talking about like the new format and like the funding of RLCS and stuff like that. I know that I was talking briefly in our friend group that we have about, I guess like free games and how their ecosystem with like, I guess like skins and how that funds different events. I think that could be kind of a cool talking point once we come back. But before we do that, I did want to give you guys one more opportunity. Like I said, if you want to call into the show at any point, it's going to be 972-883-6305. And our Skype is I am Radio UTD. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. If you have just tuned in, we are behind the screens. Myself, Hector, joined by Hrithik and Kevin. We just talk about all of the things going on in the gaming and esports realm. But right before we jump back into things, I want to welcome you guys back to the show, but also if you're not familiar with Radio UTD, we have shows regularly throughout the week, so make sure to tune into the Mixer, and we might be live on Twitch as well. But if you are interested in potentially doing blogging or audio tech positions, we do have applications that are opening up in the spring semester, so you can find them in the Forms tab on our website at radioutd.com. And if you are interested in maybe a little more of the video editing or potentially videography, you can contact local music at Radio UTD for more details on that. But let's hop back into it. Before we do, really quick, I know we did this in previous semesters, so for anyone tuning in, might be familiar with it, but we're going to do the deal of the week. As usual, Humble Bundle has some fantastic deals going on their end. This time around, it's going to be a Telltale Games bundle, which includes pretty much all of the banger Telltale games, being The Wolf Among Us, some Walking Dead ones, Batman ones, and it's $12 for 11 of the games, which I think one of them alone is pretty much that cost. So if you're into, story-driven games or any of the Telltale series, make sure to go on to Humble Bundle and pick that up. But back where we were before we left, Hrithik, I know you're going to have a lot to talk about this, but what is your guys' take on having a basically driven ecosystem for games where you have to pay a lot of money to get skins, but the game is free to play?
So the biggest two games that come to mind in my opinion are Rocket League and Valorant, the new FPS that's come out last year. Valorant is free to play, and the prices on the skins, the in-game skins, are insane. They're insanely expensive.
Yeah.
So for a knife that you can use in game, one skin can set you back $35 to $50 itself, just on that.
Yep.
And the entire bundles of the skins per set can be from $75 to $100, which is crazy to think about for digital pixels. But then if you compare it to CSGO, CSGO is completely different, but that has a loot box system, and you can actually sell the skins, so that has its own ecosystem.
Yeah.
A valid reason to become so expensive. But free to play stuff like this, I don't understand how it can be justified, in my opinion.
CSGO is crazy with their skins. For instance,
Yeah.
I forgot, it's the Dragon Lore Op. The souvenir Dragon Lore Op was I don't remember the cost, but a long time ago, I remember it being almost $1,000 or something like that.
So some
Really?
backstory behind it. So the Dragon Lore came out in this one case that comes out only in the majors.
Yeah.
So every major, you'd watch the major, and you'd have cases that would drop from it just by watching.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of stopped doing that. But the souvenir op, Dragon Lore op, all the souvenir is that it comes with gold stickers on it from the players. That thing goes for over 100K now, and there's skins.
No.
Yeah.
There's skins that are going for
No
over
way.
$1 million if you have the right sticker combination, the right
Blue gems
wear, stuff like that. So
Gotta be
the
insane.
amount, and since 2012, the prices have inflated so much in everything. So with CS:GO, obviously it's a loot box system, right? So you can open cases with keys, and you can get a random skin. There's the different probability to get everything, right? So it kind of does make sense that especially now that you can resell all the skins, that the skins would be inflating that much.
That makes sense.
But going back to Valorant, Rocket League,
even Fortnite maybe.
Fortnite too, but not as much. But games where you can't sell your items back for your money back for whatever currency is, whether it's real life currency or whether it's
In-game.
in-game currency.
Yeah.
It's something that this is baffling to me, because you get a game, it's free to play. You're oh cool, I'm not paying any games. I'm not paying any money to play this game. It's so dope, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then you just end up dropping $300, $400, $500 on the skins, because you want to make your gameplay entertaining, and the skins help with that.
Yeah. So I've heard a lot of takes on it. I've heard some very harsh opinions on the matter from certain people that we know. And basically their argument is that the infrastructure like this being free to play naturally is going to attract a younger audience, because just that's how it is. But having these enticing and like cool bundles. Like for instance, Valorant just released a bundle where they collaborated with Zed, who's a very
Oh my God.
very
Such a
very
good bundle.
popular electronic artist, EDM, and he like the bundle is legitimately $100. Like
No.
it is $100, and like
What does it include?
it includes like several
It's
skins
like
for
5
different
skins,
skins,
like a
some
knife,
charms, yeah.
some like charms, some like stickers, stuff like that. But like the main thing is the skin that you're going for. But $100 for a knife, and that too, the way they market it is like incredible. By the way,
Yeah, they do a
so
great job.
they show all the skins. So like there's 4 or 5 different actual gun skins, and then on the side they say if you buy this bundle, you get this knife for free, and the knife itself is $50 if you buy it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So they're saying you might as well just pay the extra $50, get the other skins, and you can get this knife, you can get all these extra stuff for free. When in reality, it's literally just a big like
Because
like,
most people
scam
don't,
in my
yeah,
opinion, honestly.
most people don't care about like half the skins in the bundle, but they'll get it anyways because if they care about like 2 of them plus the knife, they're ending up paying that much anyways. Granted, this is the most expensive collection that they've had by far in the last year and a half, but it hasn't even like I say by far, but it's actually come close with other collections like being around like $85 ish.
I
But
think the cheapest bundle is around $55.
exactly. But I mean, you look at that, right? And like for a lot of people that are coming from like different games, it's like, geez, like $100 on skins, legitimate pixels on my screen that would be there but are just recolored with cool animations and stuff like that. That's like super expensive. But I find it funny when you talk to people that come from the CS like background. Like at least for myself personally, like I feel like I am like $100. Like yeah, that's a lot, but like I would spend that like on a like bad knife in CS:GO. You know?
I've spent so much money on CS:GO where like I've probably spent like in the thousands of dollars in CS:GO over like the 8 years I've played it. But it just like I think it's a free to play aspect that gets you, and the fact that you can't resell your skins. And
Yeah.
obviously the Riot who makes Valorant need to make money somehow, right? If you're
Yeah.
giving a game free to play, there's not much ways you can make money off the other than the in-game skins, some advertising stuff like that. So
Can
it makes
I-
sense, but
Go ahead,
at the
Kev.
same
Can I
time,
make a confession?
Go for it.
So, a long time ago when I used to play Overwatch,
Let's hear this one out.
a long time ago when I used to play Overwatch, a certain skin had come out for Widowmaker,
Oh no.
Oh,
and
gosh.
I,
This man is
at the
down
time
bad.
I was a Widowmaker main. I only like sniping and like most FPS games, but I decided to. It was like I don't know. It was like midnight. I was in a call with my friends and we ended up talking about the new skin. I was like, I really want it. So we sat
no.
there and he got the skin like after like 5 boxes. He spent, I don't know, it was like $10 or something.
Yeah, I think it's like
I
$1 per case or something.
Yeah, I spent $60
Oh,
my
my god.
just to get that. And I was happy. Honestly, I have no regrets. I was so happy that I got that skin.
Yeah.
The worst part is I never used it. never
I
used
have
it.
I have some similar stuff where like I'm just in a call with my friends in the middle of the night and
they're
I'm
like,
playing
"Run it."
CS:GO. I'm playing CS:GO, right? And we're just like, let's open some cases. I'm like, I know I shouldn't because these cases are
It's the worst
scam,
idea.
honestly.
It's the worst
It's like,
idea.
You open $2.50 and you can get like a 7-cent skin.
Exactly. Like, and the chance of you making profit,
It's so
especially if
fun.
the case has been out for a little bit, is like insanely low. And I'm pretty sure I was paying like $50 in just that one night alone, just opening cases and got nothing in return. I don't think I even got $1 back.
Yeah.
It's addicting.
It is addicting.
And
It's
that's
mini
why they
gambling.
banned it.
So that's like the thing that kind of worries me. I guess like for Valorant, it's really like honestly it's okay. And the reason why I say it's okay is because at the end of the day, you're making the conscious decision to pay for those skins, right?
Yeah, that makes
Exactly.
sense.
But let's take like CS:GO or even back then before the new item update in Rocket League.
Yeah.
Even in Rocket League they had the same thing where it was like a gambling thing. You had kids like me, even though I was in high school, but still making bad financial decisions.
Yeah.
Spending $60 in like Overwatch.
And your paycheck's like 80.
Exactly.
Like, let's run it, boys.
Like, let's go. And I mean, I just feel bad for like kids that like they decide to just spend all this money. It's like making very bad decisions.
I will
Whereas
say,
like Valorant, it's what you know what you're getting.
yeah, exactly. I will say that although like all this like bad financial decision and stuff like that, right? But at least they are all like not pay to win. At
Yeah,
least they're
I
all
agree.
cosmetics, right? Because there are games. EA, I'm looking at you. There's like NBA. There's Madden. All these games, all these sports games, where you pay $60 itself, $120 to get like the first game itself.
Yeah.
And
But
you
then
pay more.
to even stay up to date with the entire thing, you got to spend more money just for that year itself. So you can spend like close to $500, $600.
EA is not short of doing that. Like we talked about it on previous shows, and like I think there was a graphic that had and this is a game that, bear in mind, is not competitive in the slightest. Sims. If you look at all of the expansion DLCs mixed with the base game, it's like $560 for everything.
It's crazy.
It's like, bro, I don't think $40 warrants me getting like a new piece of furniture and I can get a pet turtle for once. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, EA is like the biggest cash grab like company in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for them to like be that like pay to win.
At least they don't do it for
They did it for-
Apex.
They did it for Battlefield too, like the Star
Oh yeah,
Wars.
they
yeah.
don't do it for Apex. That's
I mean,
that's a good thing.
If they
to, like,
didn't,
Battlefront,
or if
yeah.
they did rather, I don't think the game would still be alive.
They need to fix their servers though first, but that's a different story for a different day.
No, they won't ever do that.
Where's the money going back, you know? Like, they fix servers. Where do they benefit from it, you know?
Only more people are playing. And more
Nah,
people
but they
are-
don't think about that. They're
Yeah,
just like,
Hey, but
How
at
much
least
money can you get?
they're updating those graphics on the soccer field or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And those blades of grasses, I can see.
Oh yeah. I
each and
really
every one
want
of
to see the difference between a 4-inch and a 5-inch blade of
Yeah,
blade of grass.
absolutely.
okay, speaking of blades of grass, this has no correlation, but it does at the same time. I have Humble Monthly, right? Or Humble Choice.
Yeah.
And I like accidentally renewed it again, and like sometimes they have like good months and like they're like really cool. This month, like the title picture is PGA Tour 2K21.
Okay,
you
hold
think your
up.
boy is ever gonna play golf on his computer?
Look, I'm gonna. I gotta say, I've watched a few
Hold
people.
on a second. Be careful with your words.
I've watched a few people play on PGA.
Is it fun?
It doesn't look too bad.
You
I'll
think
be-
I should install it?
You should give
You
it
should
a try.
try it.
Yeah,
I'll
why
be
not?
honest.
Like,
I already paid
doesn't-
for it, so.
It does.
So
like,
these sports games in general, they can get boring really fast, but in
True.
general they are pretty fun to begin with. I tried playing a hockey game for the first time. Pretty fun.
Slapshot?
No, it was an NHL
Oh
game.
man,
I forgot
Slapshot is
which
good.
year.
I love Slapshot.
But I mean obviously I get bored of it really fast. But
yeah, it gets boring.
the sports games aren't that like bad to begin with.
You used to be a huge fan of like 2K.
Oh,
Or-
I still play
2K
2K
is
and Madden
literally-
all the time.
Yeah.
I just don't spend money on it.
I have
That's
a
fair.
friend who's a hardcore PC gamer. He plays like, you know, all like the crazy, like the games that you would never think about. Like Dark Souls, stuff like that. He spent about a month, I would say, playing FIFA. Just out of the blue. Just he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get FIFA."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, don't do it to yourself." And next thing you know, he's playing FIFA.
I know
for
the
an entire
feel. You
month.
just want some different different thing in your life. You're playing shooters or you're playing like
Yeah, it's a
MOBAs
nice
the
break,
entire
I
time,
will say
right?
that.
And obviously if you're super into sports, you'd enjoy these sports games. So I've had those times where it's the middle of the night, every single night. I'm just like, I kind of just want to play NBA. I kind of just want to play Madden. And I do
Yeah.
that.
Well,
I literally
okay.
buy a membership just to play it for like that week.
Yeah, it's funny because like the games like they come out like yearly, right? But then they just like immediately like die off instantly when the next one comes out.
The
Yeah.
thing is, they're
So-
also the exact same game. Like
Yeah,
they
it's just
generally
updated.
don't change like a whole lot in it.
Yeah. Well, listen.
It's a roster update.
I'll install PGA Tour 2K21 today, and by the time we come onto the show next Thursday, I'll give you guys my honest review of the game. It's probably gonna be complete trash, but I think it'll be a fun mess to kind of talk about potentially.
What is that? The neon.
Neon Abyss is another one. I don't know. It's kind of like a rogue like
It looks really
It looks
interesting.
pretty cool, but I mean, the real attraction here, Kevin, is the PGA Tour 2K21 with
I
the
just
pro
wanna hit
golfing
some
career.
golf
I think that
balls.
would be a fun thing to do. Like every week, find a random game
I wanna
that we
hit
don't
birdie.
we would never play, and we go try it out, and we come
Well,
back for the
yeah,
review.
we'll include it in the deal of the week section, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But unfortunately, that's all we got time for this week. Like I said, we are gonna have our show at 11 a.m. every Thursday, so make sure to tune in on the Mixer, and we might be live on Twitch as well. If you wanted to tune in, or rather if you wanted to call in for later shows, like I said, 972-883-6305. And that's going to be it for us here at Behind the Screens. I'll give a outro, but Hrithik and Kevin, you're gonna be here for all the rest of the semester. So
Yep.
I appreciate you guys hosting it with me, and it's gonna
Of
be a
course.
pleasure. All
Of
right,
course.
well, take it easy, friends. We'll catch you on the next episode.